Jumping into the number 5 spot of the top 5 budget gaming mice of 2025 is the glorious Model O and D2, coming in at a price tag of $44.99. If you guys want to check out any of the 5 gaming mice in this video, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links, but let's talk about that glorious Model D and O. This mouse uses the BAMF 2.0 sensor. It hits a 1000 Hz polling rate, up to 26,000 DPI, 650 IPS, and 50 Gs of acceleration. Build quality here is so much better than the last generation, feeling much more solid. It has no creaks and rattles, and it's quite good looking with smaller weight-saving circle cutouts. It just looks more refined. The mouse has a grippy texture to it, and it maintains some cool looking RGB while keeping that weight down to an impressive 59 grams. The cable here is an ultralight design. If you keep some slack on it, it feels wireless, and really the skates here are the only reason it's in the number 5 spot. They are smaller and do have some drag and inconsistencies from the left and right versus the up and down. However, if you prefer aftermarket skates anyway, and that's just something you do on your mice, then this could be a really great pick, especially if it's on sale and you prefer aftermarket skates, then it's a no-brainer. Because while it's still usable with the skates, it's not perfect, while every other part of the mouse is really very, very good. Like the left and right clicks, these are using Glorious's switches, and they are a great design of the actual buttons themselves, making for no wobble or movement at all, and essentially having no pre-trial before clicking them. The clicks are also nice and sharp and accurate. It sounds and feels good. Overall, if the skates were perfect, this might even be in the number 1 spot, so definitely something to check out and see if it's on sale. Remember, links are below, but with that, let's move on to the number 4 spot. And this is the Cooler Master MM711. This is the GOAT, coming in at a price tag of $24.99. It's the cheapest mouse on the list, and it's my top pick for a gaming mouse under 30 bucks. This has been on so many of my lists because of just how good it is. This has a 3389 sensor, hits a 1000 Hz polling rate, up to 16,000 DPI, 400 IPS, and 50 Gs of acceleration. Build quality here is solid and suitable for all grip styles. Whether you're a fingertip, claw, or palm gripper, it's great for all of them. The cutouts are actually the Cooler Master logo, which looks pretty cool, and it's got a big old diffused piece of RGB in there, making this probably the best looking gaming mouse anywhere near this price point. And with all that, it still is able to keep the weight down to 60 grams, which is very impressive. The cable here is an ultralight design with zero resistance, so again, you keep some slack on it. It's wireless, no problems there. The skates here are virgin grade PTFE with one large skate in the top and 2 smaller ones on the bottom corners, which does cause some drag, but it's not unusable, but there just is drag here. Now, like the previous mouse, you could upgrade these to aftermarket skates, but it's not unusable at all. Now, the scroll wheel is nice and tactile. It actually feels better than plenty of mice that are 5 times this price, but it's nothing crazy good. It's just that the bar is pretty low for scroll wheels. The switches here are Omron switches, and they feel pretty good. The left and right clicks are not the crispiest that you're ever going to get, but for everything that this mouse ties together for a $24.95 price tag, well, it's very, very impressive. But with that, let's move on to the number 3 spot, which is the Razer Basilisk V3, coming in at a price tag of $40.99. This mouse was originally sold for $69.99 when it was new, or when it first came out, and it's the best in class. It's still the best in class. For a ergonomic right-handed mouse with a lot of programmable buttons, this is still my top choice. This is what I would personally buy. And the fact that you can get it for $40.99 is amazing. The sensor the Basilisk uses here is the Razer Focus Plus optical sensor. This hits a 1000 Hz polling rate, up to 26,000 DPI, 650 IPS, and 50 Gs of acceleration. Build quality is amazing here. It's the best on any budget mouse I've ever tried. It's definitely a larger mouse as far as gaming mice go, but this is a right-handed ergonomic mouse with a thumb rest, so that makes sense. For my hand size and grip, which is a palm grip, which obviously if you're getting this mouse, you're gonna palm gripper. This mouse feels amazing for long gaming sessions. It has injection molding on the sides that fit my hand really nicely and provide a nice grip without being too abrasive. It just feels expensive. It also looks the part of a very expensive mouse because of all that RGB that is very customizable inside of Razer Synapse. You have almost 360-degree lighting. This is one of the most beautiful gaming mice I think ever. Now, I prefer lightweight gaming mice most of the time, but this thing, you have to admit, it looks crazy. Now, even though this weighs in at 101 grams for the size, and obviously, well, this being a very ergonomic mouse, this is actually one of the lightest mice in class. And it's not trying to be a lightweight mouse, but it is very light for what it is. Now the cable here is Razer SpeedFlex cable, so it's ultra lightweight, feels wireless. These skates here are 100% PTFE with 2 small skates on the top, 1 skate on the bottom, and then 1 underneath the thumb rest. This thing glides like really exceptionally well. Like you'd think it's big, it's gonna have a lot more mass, it's probably gonna drag a little bit. No, dude, this thing is super smooth. Really impressive. The switches here are Razer's Gen 2 optical switches. These are a very reliable switch and they have a nice crispy click. It's very tactile. I like them a lot. Now the scroll wheel here feels excellent. It's got big tactile bumps, but the big thing is you can switch this between a flywheel. So you can go free fly or you can go tactile bumps. That's super nice. Again, for editing, if you guys are like video editors, photo editors, like for Photoshop, doing stuff like that, this is absolutely excellent. Lastly, this has a ton of customizable buttons, 13 in total. This is an excellent gaming mouse due to its extreme comfort, customization, and the fact that even though this is very budget friendly, it's literally the best mouse in its class regardless of price. But with that, let's move on to the number 2 spot, which is the Fantech Aria XD7 V2. This comes in at $62.30 at the time of filming, but it's so new at the time of me filming this video that it was literally just released and it's kind of still rolling out, so that includes shipping, but it's probably gonna be on Prime, hopefully when you guys are watching this video, so check the links below for current pricing. The sensor they're using here is the 3395 sensor. This hits a 1000 Hertz polling rate in this variant, but you can also go to the 8000 Hertz polling variant, which is the same link below, up to 26,000 DPI, 650 IPS, and 50 Gs of acceleration. Build quality here is awesome, being very solid, especially with the improved rigidity over the last generation. The shape has slightly changed when compared to the last generation, bringing out the bottom, flaring it out a bit, which makes for an extremely comfortable grip with all grip styles. The Aria XD7 V1 was one of my favorite mice of all time, and this V2 builds on that. Same overall shape, same overall mouse. Flaring out the bottom makes it significantly more comfortable. They've also made the mouse more rigid by removing that removable backplate, which I think was overall a good choice. This shape is just amazing. I'm immediately at home with it, and it allows for excellent liftoffs and super fast but controlled whippy play styles. This also comes in at 53 grams, which is impressive, lighter than the last generation. Now, this is obviously the only wireless mouse on the list, so it uses a 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle, and again, if you get the 8000 Hz polling rate, you'll have an 8000 Hz polling rate dongle. This also charges via USB Type-C. Now, the skates here are smooth. There is a bit of drag when going up and down versus left to right, but it's not very intense at all. It's very subtle, and I think in most cases, you might not even notice it. Now, the scroll wheel here was a surprise. It's literally one of the best of all time. Of any of the mice I've tried, this is one of the best. It is extremely accurate and very tactile with clear bumps in between at the perfect distance apart. Now for the switches on the left and right click, this is using the Hano transparent blue shell pink dot switches, which are very clicky and feel great. Overall, this is the best mouse on the list, but it's in the number 2 spot because I think for some of your budgets, this might be a little bit high, even though the value on this one is insane. Since this is a budget video, the number 1 is the greatest value of any budget gaming mouse. With that, let's move on to the number 1. Best budget gaming mouse of 2025. This is the Razer Cobra, coming in at a price tag of $38.98. That is a good price. That is a very good price. This sensor here is Razer's 8500 DPI optical sensor, which hits a 1000 Hz polling rate, up to 8500 DPI, 300 IPS, and 35 Gs of acceleration. Build quality is impressively solid for the price point. You really don't feel like this is a budget mouse at all. This has no creaks and rattles, and the shape is an ambidextrous design with more of a narrow stature and mild palm bump that is great for palm and claw grip styles specifically, but fingertip gripping was also good here. There are indents on the left and right clicks for your fingers to sit comfortably, and this has nice glossy accents throughout with a slight grippy texture. This also manages to include some pretty sweet RGB, and all of that at 58 grams of weight, which is, yeah, that's very impressive. Very impressive build, balancing weight for the money, yeah. Now the cable here is the same SpeedFlex cable, which basically feels wireless if you keep some slack on it. The skates here are virgin grade PTFE with 1 long skinny skate across the top, 1 around the sensor, and then 1 large skate on the bottom that makes this mouse glide so freaking smoothly with literally 0 noticeable drag. It's really really quite good. They just didn't mess up anything with this mouse. Now the scroll wheel here is just okay. It's not great, it's not bad, it's just right there in the middle, which I think for this mouse and the value you're getting is fine. It has a more stealth protrusion and it still has tactile bumps, but they're a little bit mushy. However, it's definitely usable. For switches, these are using Razer's Gen 3 optical switches. These have a comfortable weight to them and they're very, very reliable. They also have nice crispy clicks to them. You guys know, Razer's optical switches, they're good. But overall, this is by far the best value budget gaming mouse you can buy. Again, if you want to check out any of the 5 mice in this video, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. I'll also be coming out with a budget wireless video, which will be right here as soon as it releases, which might be a little bit of time, probably like 2 weeks. Give me some time. Give me some time. This is a consumer tech review, and I'll see you guys in the next video.